How the latest Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 death will impact the Cowboys addressed by Star. Yellowstone star Denham Richards opens up about the show's latest shocking death. It's in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12, that Richards tragically takes center stage. His character, Colby Mayfield, steps in to help Carter, Finn Little, after the young man gets cornered by a horse. Even though Colby manages to help Carter, and the horse is ultimately shot, it's too late for Colby as he gets kicked to death by the horse. In an interview with Screen Rant's Grant Hermans, Richards discusses Colby's death and what it means for the Cowboys he leaves behind. The actor, who has been part of the show since Season 1, speaks about the outpouring of support he's received since the episode. He also talks about the current season being the most nuanced, previewing that the characters will respond to Colby's death with that same level of nuance. The episode, which is titled Counting Crop, is only the latest Yellowstone death. The series famously killed off John Dutton, coinciding with Kevin Costner not returning to reprise the central role. His murder is the main focus of the remaining season 5 episodes, driving a wedge between Jamie, Wes Bentley, and his siblings. Sarah Atwood, Dawn Oliveri, who organized John's murder with Jamie's apparent blessing, was also shot and killed as a way of tying up loose ends. There are only 2 episodes left in Yellowstone Season 5. The show's future beyond that is unconfirmed, though there have been reports that a Season 6 renewal is pending. Richards' comments suggest that Colby's presence will continue to be felt in these remaining episodes. However, the Western has a lot of story to work through and little time to do it. The most recent episode was written by series creator Taylor Sheridan, with Christina Alexandra Voros directing. Like most of the show's return as well, much of the focus has been around a surprising death. But with the show's core story unresolved, and just a few episodes left, it's worth asking whether the Western would be better served by tightening up its focus rather than removing familiar faces from the Yellowstone cast. The moment fans have been anxiously waiting for has arrived. Season 5, Part 2 of Yellowstone has dropped, and with it, one of the most heart-wrenching and shocking deaths the Dutton family has seen yet. But what does this monumental loss mean for the Cowboys, ranch hands, and the rugged characters who call their ranch home? Actor Wes Bentley, who portrays Jamie Dutton, recently shared some deep insights on how the latest death will ripple through the fabric of the show's universe, particularly affecting the men who embody the tough cowboy spirit. The Dutton Ranch is known for its unyielding nature, where loyalty, family, and survival are held in the highest regard. But what happens when a key member of the cowboy crew is taken away? This isn't just about loss. It's about how that absence will alter the already fragile alliances and the delicate balance between power, tradition, and love that has been so expertly built over the seasons. Wes Bentley's comments shed light on just how far-reaching the death will be. The Cowboys, as tough as they are not immune to the emotions and impacts of what happens on the ranch, Bentley says. They may not show it in the same way, but loss cuts deep for them too. They're a family, just like the Duttons, and a loss like this doesn't just shake up the characters emotionally, but it also challenges their sense of purpose, of loyalty, and of what they stand for. Throughout the seasons, we've seen the Cowboys stand strong beside the Duttons, ready to fight when the ranch is under threat, yet also showing moments of tenderness, especially in their relationships with each other. This loss, which Bentley emphasizes will have long-lasting effects, challenges their core beliefs. They will have to question what the future of the ranch looks like without that person, and how they continue moving forward without someone they relied on, not only for the physical work on the ranch, but for emotional support and camaraderie. The changing dynamics of the Cowboy brotherhood. The immediate effect of the death will be seen in the fracture of the Cowboy crew. We can expect heightened tension as grief and anger take hold, and the absence of the deceased person will create a power vacuum. Wes Bentley explains, in Yellowstone, the Cowboys are not just employees, they're part of a legacy. Losing a cowboy is like losing a piece of the ranch's soul. And the remaining cowboys are left to figure out how they fit into that, especially if the person who died had a special bond with them. In this respect, the remaining cowboys will be forced to navigate their roles differently. The relationships between key figures such as Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, Lloyd, Forey J. Smith, and Walker, Ryan Bingham, will evolve under the weight of this loss. Will Rip, a stalwart protector of the Duttons and a figurehead among the ranch hands, become even more stoic and withdrawn, or will this loss push him into new territory emotionally? Lloyd's already tenuous position in the group could be tested even further. He has always struggled with his place on the ranch, constantly seeking approval from Rip and the Duttons. This death could act as a catalyst for either greater loyalty or a drastic shift in his character, as he might either double down on his commitment to the family or question his future within the group. The dynamics among the Cowboys, who have always been loyal to one another, will be tested like never before, as each character must face their grief and make sense of a changed world. Cowboys and the Duttons, a shifting power structure. The Duttons, especially John Dutton, Kevin Costner, are no strangers to loss. But what happens when the Dutton family has to cope with the weight of death once again, especially when it comes at the hands of someone close to the ranch crew? The impact of this latest death isn't just confined to the Cowboys. It's bound to have massive repercussions for the family itself. In particular, the tension between Jamie, Beth, Kelly Riley, and Rip could shift the power dynamic, leaving some characters to struggle with the newfound uncertainty. Bentley hints that this tragedy will leave the Duttons in a state of flux, forcing them to rethink their strategy for holding on to both the land and their family's legacy. When something like this happens, it opens up wounds that no one wants to address, Bentley says. For Jamie, this event will ignite even more internal conflict, making him question his role within the Dutton family. And for the Cowboys, it will force them to decide if they are with the Duttons through thick and thin, or if the risks are no longer worth it. One of the pivotal moments that will come out of this situation is how the Cowboys view their loyalty to the Duttons moving forward. Are they there purely for the land, or have they formed an emotional bond with the Duttons themselves, making the ranch a family and not just a business? The loss will undoubtedly test that connection. The legacy of a cowboy, how the show honors the dying cowboy. In true Yellowstone fashion, the legacy of the deceased will play an essential role in the aftermath. The death of a cowboy isn't just about the immediate emotional fallout. It's about the impact on the legacy they leave behind. In the West, cowboys are often seen as rough, tough individuals whose identities are bound up in their work and their sense of honor. The death of this particular cowboy will force the others to reckon with what it means to be a cowboy on the Dutton Ranch and how to carry that tradition forward in the face of adversity. Wes Bentley acknowledges this sentiment by reflecting on the power of the cowboy mythos. In Yellowstone, we've always dealt with a question of legacy. Who are you when you're not on that horse or working the land? What do you leave behind? And I think this death will raise those questions not just for the Cowboys, but for the Duttons as well. The road ahead for the Cowboys and the Duttons. As the Cowboys process this loss, they'll find themselves standing at a crossroads. Will the grief of losing one of their own spur them to greater action and unity, or will it tear them apart? The latest death is bound to spark an unraveling of relationships, a deepening of tension, and a reshaping of the cowboy community. The question remains whether the Cowboys can adapt to their loss, or if this marks the beginning of the end of an era for the Dutton Ranch. Wes Bentley concludes with a somber reflection on what the audience can expect next. In Yellowstone, nothing ever stays the same. The death will create a hole that's felt deeply by all involved, but it also creates space for something new, for change, and for growth. It's a difficult but necessary part of the ranch's journey. The Cowboys will have to find their way, but that's what makes their stories so compelling. They're always battling against something. And this death is just another challenge in their rugged, unyielding lives. As the dust settles, the Dutton Ranch will be forever altered by this death. Yet one thing remains clear. The bond between the Cowboys and the family will never be easily broken, no matter the cost.